Imagine embarking on an unforgettable journey through the heart of Italy, where every turn is a new treasure and every moment is filled with beauty and culture. You start your adventure in Rome, the eternal city. Next, you venture into the rolling hills of Tuscany, where the air is perfumed with the scent of vineyards and olive grove. The journey continues to Venice, the floating city of canals and gondolas, after Five Earth and Milan. But your Italian adventure doesn't end on land. It's about to get even more extraordinary. A magical journey through Italy, topped off with a house music festival on Costa Cruise. Dance under the stars, relax in style, and discover exclusive performances on deck, all while sailing to some of the most beautiful destinations. There are 3 packages to choose from. Sailing dates are from September 24th through the 28th, 2025. Book yours now at festivaloncruise.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Heidi's house. I'm your host, Queen Bee Heidi B. In today's episode, our featured guest is BJ Melody. He is an artist, MC, radio personality, member of the collective, and much more. So are you ready to find out more about his house music journey? Well, then let's go. So here he is, PJ Melodies in the house.
Thank you for having me, Heidi. Thank you.
How are you today?
Yeah, no, very well, very well. I must have to give thanks. We're here with full joy, full life, man. So thank you for having me. How are
Yes,
you
it's
today?
it's truly my pleasure, and thank you for joining into this podcast. And also, I love the fact that we have people representing UK scene as well. We have had lately Paul Conway was joining in, and then we had Anya Garvey Wells, who is nowadays living in UK, and Lee Wells from Cheeky Radio, and so on. So you're gonna join that crew already, and I'm very happy to have you with us today.
Wonderful.
So, and since you are our featured guest, I have this very blunt style that I'm gonna jump straight away to this interview questions. This podcast is all about, of course, house music globally and taking little snapshots of the artists, influencers, DJs, radio personalities, and so forth that have something to do with the house music, one way or the other, around the world. So, without further talk, I'm gonna ask you the first question. Tell us a bit, who is BJ Melody?
BJ Melody is a man, a father, an artist. PJ Melody is an evolution of art. I started as a young MC so many years ago. I've been in music for like over 30 years, I would say, and it's been in and around me. So yeah, as an artist, I guess you have to have real life experiences. And so, where I stand today, I'm a host, I'm an MC, I'm also a producer, and yeah, just a creative, really. I feel like I'm on a mission to kind of leave my mark with my art and also inspire others to do the same.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, could you tell us a little bit about the early stages of your music journey? Where did it all start from or begin from?
Well, it really, really began, I guess, when I was like 5 or 6, and I used to listen to the radio. And in those days, my mum, my grandparents used to have like cassette radio. So you could listen to the radio, and then obviously you could press record and play at the same time, and then
Yeah.
record what was going on. And then when you just got ingenious, you then were able to then edit those recordings and then create your own mixes. then I used to obviously do that and then sing along to the raps. And then as I got older, it used to be a case of just like getting together with family members, and then we'd sit around and start to, I guess, you know, emulate some of the artists that we used to listen to on the sound tapes. And then, yeah, it was just this thing that we did, that I did. And so eventually, I think I was about 14 when I was at school, and there was like a disco essentially. And I don't know, I gave it this thing that I could be an MC. Now I'd never MC'd before, and I kind of gave it all the bravado, like, yeah, I can do it. When I say never done it for an event, but I made out that I could do it. And then, yeah, essentially I remember practicing, like writing lyrics and all this kind of stuff. But essentially that's where it started. I feel like at the school disco, I mean, that's where I got the confidence, you know, actually performing in front of a crowd and actually getting people to buy into what I was doing. And then with that, it was like a drug for me from then. I remember because I was inspired actually from going to like some raves with my cousin who was a DJ at the time. Like he used to take me to like the big raves. And I remember like looking at some of the MCs and just being inspired by them. And that's where this journey started for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and I do remember also those times, you know, around 30 years, a little bit less ago, but you know, the rave scene was big all over the Europe, and especially in UK over there. I wish I was there at that time.
Yeah,
Really.
well, I mean, it was some memories, right, and some moments, man. And that's, you know, I feel like I've spent my whole life since then trying to recapture those vibes, because there was a few special years which I feel like were organic and they were authentic in that moment. And you know, there was a period afterwards where I felt like the music was not authentic. It became very like, people became very much more self-conscious, and so more maybe even pretentious. So it took away from actually, you know, like rave culture was like come as you are, wasn't it, really? And get into the vibe, and then it was like the love of so many different people together.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And the jungle scene was also, you know, that was the time when the jungle really like first came out, and so on. You have history with that as well, so could you share with us a bit about that?
I mean, yeah, jungle was really where I came. So like there was like hardcore, and then there was just when jungle was emerging, and jungle was kind of like, that was my thing. That was the thing that I really felt in my stomach. And I think it really came from the influences of like sound systems. And that kind of merging with this dance music. So it was like, you know, my parents are from like Jamaica, like my family lineage is from Jamaica. And so being Jamaican, but also born British, like the influences were still there.
Yes.
And another thing I really love is about this dance music. It was like this blend was something that's actually our own. And with all those influences, it was still very much multicultural as well, because, you know, as we all live together, I guess, then it's like, you know, we're all influenced by the same thing, as you can hear, like by the slang, and you know what I mean? So, yeah, jungle was where it started. But then, you know, there was a period where I guess it started to get a little bit dark. And so it moved away from that. And that's when I guess I started to move away, because I guess there was like less and less females coming to the parties. It was just a lot of guys, and then, you know, it was a bit more aggressive in the UK. So then the scene really kind of brightened up with house and garage, and then that was where it was like a real rebirth for me. And that's where, you know, that was like another stage. So jungle was like the roots of it. House and garage was like, you know, the evolution. And then
and that's actually beautiful, because I was about to ask that what really got you into house music. Could you explore it a little bit? What got you into house music? Why house? You gave a little bit hints there already in your previous comment.
Yeah, I mean, house music, like I say, I feel like house music, well, actually, I thought about this earlier. You know, that the people who produce house music were essentially trying to produce pop music, right? So that's where it started, like, because I started to research like the history of house music and where it came from, like obviously like in Chicago and, you know, those guys. I kind of know about our scene over here because it was again, it was organic to us. but it was influenced from the house scene of America as well. But you know, like our style, I don't know, like house music for me is now I would say it's therapeutic. But you know, with the house music that I play now, I mean, it's taken me a long time to kind of find the house music that I love confidently. Like there are so many house tracks that I love, but house has become so diverse and there's so many different scenes within it, right? So it's kind of like the vibes that I'm kind of working with. I don't know, like it's from that essence of jungle garage. And actually, what I really like is I don't like to feel like we're just listening to old school stuff. I like to feel that old school energy of, you know, newness up to date, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, if you're asking me about house, I don't know if I can speak for all house, but you know, house for me is just it's progressive. The type of house that we play now, in terms of like the amapiano, the tribal Afro stuff, for me, it's very therapeutic, healing. That's like healing music. You know, it's good for your mind, your body, and soul. It's positive energy, and that for me is everything. You know, it's life. It's a way of life right now. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And actually, it's interesting when you mention that, because when you think about the tempo of those genres of house music, it is again a little bit back to more downbeat, and which is already kind of calming if you compare it to some other genres of house, or you know, all kind of, you know, different genres that are maybe more like you know, well, tech house, for instance, and so forth. So it's quite different, but it's all under the same umbrella. And I somehow feel also that those genres now that you mentioned, they are really like, you know, they give this more this calming, more laid back, fun vibes, so to say,
Yeah.
in that sense. All right. So now what about the garage and garage house, those connections? How is that?
So
Oh, that
so
story.
now, yeah, no, I mean, because it's like I use all right, so I like garage, I guess, but garage is kind of in the past at the moment in my mind, from what I can see.
Okay.
So it's kind of very nostalgic. Like the people who used to like garage, or people who love garage now, i.e., from when they used to rave and are still going out to garage events, I kind of feel that they need to transition to like the house that we're playing now, because it's essentially those vibes and it's a bit more current. I mean, you know what it is? Yeah, to feel alive, right? You have to be present. So garage for me is like it's very nostalgic. There's a lot of guys that still do it, and you know, I love it. And for a time when I kind of came back to music, I dabbled with garage, but it just didn't, you know, like going back over tunes that are like 15 years old, or just remixes of the same tunes don't really grip me like that anymore. And like I said, it was an evolution. Like I never stuck like with you know, it was garage, and then garage moved to grime, and then grime was not really my thing. It was like a different generation, and I kind of like then went into a phase of actually working on my own artistry, to become much more of an artist and express, because obviously before I was much more of an MC. And so then, you know, I dabbled then with hip hop and all of these other things. I mean, and even like before this show, it was like I was listening to some of the music that I've made, and it's like I've made so many different genres of music, but essentially it's all been about kind of perfecting and cultivating this art. And that art is kind of like the truth of who I am, right? So, you know, we're all living these lives where it's complicated. We've got bills to pay, we've got relationships, we've got all of these things, right? And so sometimes you can bury your art thinking like, who wants to hear it? But actually, you know, that's the thing. Like we've got to kind of just share it, because it's also like a gift, isn't it? It's like I can look at myself and be amazed by some of my own music and be like, wow, but it's not. I don't really feel like I'm just so responsible. So, yeah.
I love that what you just said and shared, and really also like what I'm seeing, you know, from your story and your evolvement is really that you are having this openness to different genres and different influences, and you mix it in a way that is special and unique for you, and you make it your own, and that's what it's all about, that we have all this, so to say, influences and tools, but we interpret it and we express it through our own special way, which make it then unique, and it makes it very special, and so on. So I feel you. That's what we should do. We should really make it our own, and it should reflect us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. So okay, now when we think about artists that have influenced you most, what kind of names you would pick?
So artists that have influenced me the most, it's a hard one, but right. So I have to go back to like MCs. So for me, it's got to be the Godfather, Stevie Hyper D, like rest his soul, R.I.P. Stevie Hyper D, MC Stevie Hyper D, for me was like one of the guys that I wanted to be like, just in terms of I guess the impact that his vibes had in on the scene and in the raves. And so for me, like, if there's going to be an artist, it's going to be him, Navigator. But then obviously there's people like Mike Skinner, like, who I guess when I was in garage and I was on, I was like a teenager doing pirate radio station and stuff, and that, I guess like Mike Skinner released his album, which was Original Pirate Material, I think it was. And then there was one of the tracks on there, Has It Come to This, which, I really felt that song at the time, and I feel like it still holds up today. Like, I feel like he stands in his own class, and I feel like for myself, that's where I kind of feel like that's what I mean, having that true voice. Like, I've always respected artists who had that. Like, another artist is like Rally Ritchie. He's not a house artist, he's an actor, but he's as an artist, like I resonated with like a lot of his truth and storytelling and expression. So many, but yeah, I would say.
I know it's difficult, but I love the fact that you mentioned this also, that you kind of explore, because it's true, especially for MC and who is creating lyrics and stories and everything, that you build that connection to somebody that is in a different field but still has something to connect with you, with acting and so forth. So I'm thinking that anybody watching this podcast maybe might get some kind of nice inspiration and influence, and start to think and see that there are those kind of things to look for and maybe be inspired by when you maybe pursue your own MC adventures and carry, especially for the young. So I'm always liking these interviews for that as well, that when we share the experiences and insights, so it might be something like like an aha moment for somebody who's watching. So that's always nice as well. So I found that very nice comment there as well. Thank you for sharing that. Now I asked a little bit in advance you to name 3 influential tracks, house music tracks. So what would they be for you?
I sent you this before, didn't I? So I've got to dig them out. I think one of them was Inner City. Was it Good Life? Give me a second. I think it was Good Life. Big Fun. Big Fun. Yeah, it was Big Fun. Sorry, see. Big Fun. What a track. I feel like, that track kind of coming back now. Look, I feel like where we're at in the world, with the state of the world, like dance music, house music is what's gonna really keep us sane. We're in an insane world, and so keeping us dancing, that's what's really keeping us connected. I mean, we've got all this technology, which is supposed to keep us connected, but it's also separating us when we're in present. So, on the dance floor, Big Fun. That's that track. That's the track.
I have to say that the Good Life would have been just as great answer, and that's my go-to track. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit low, I put that to play first thing in the morning, and it just gets going. Yeah, that's my go-to track.
All right. So Big Fun and Good Life. I mean, it's interchangeable, right? So I mean, that's a new addition to the list.
Then you mentioned 2 other tracks as well.
Yes, I did. And so. yeah, days like this, Shauna Scoffrey, the Spinner and Tickler Club mix. I mean, I feel like, you know, on a sunny summer's day, you know, good vibes, lots of people together, obviously loving days like this. You know what I mean? It's an anthem, right? It's like, yeah, we've got to do it up at least a couple times a year.
Absolute beautiful track, and it's that one kind of timeless one. And again, it actually happens to be my go-to track too. So I was having fun when I was reading. I was like, wow, you know.
Great minds, Heidi, great minds.
Yeah. Then the third one.
And the third one is, well, I said it before, but it's Has It Come to This by The Streets. So yeah.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. So people, if you do not know those tracks, please get yourself familiar with them, and they are classics that don't really go out of style. I don't think they. I mean, you can play them whenever, in my opinion. They always work. They always. So great pick. Now I'm gonna explore a little bit further still in this snapshot kind of interview. I'm gonna ask about your own music. Is there one particular or one special track that stands out from your own productions so far, and maybe why? This is again very tricky one.
It's a tricky one because, you know, it's a thing where like I've made so many tracks, and I've loved every single one of them. And you know, as an artist, it's one of these things as well. If you don't necessarily get the response that you want, sometimes you just put it away. Like it's, you know, it's a very personal thing to create music. So I've made a lot of music, and I've loved all of them. And there's some new things come in, but there's nothing. No, I haven't got anything at the moment. I can think. All right, now, right, there is. I'm going to give you one. Okay, cool. So there's a track I sent you which is called Change. And that's a personal favorite for me because it was significant, because really it was at a time in my life where, like, you know, I was faced with like health challenges, you know, like breakup of a relationship, all kind of things like was hitting me at the same time. And kind of like in the moment, it was like, I don't know, like I realized that, you know, accepting responsibility or whatever it was like changes had to occur. So that song was kind of a part of that. And so, I mean, I didn't push that song really, but I just, you know, I felt it and I put a lot into that. Prior to that, I've done the mixtape, which I released in like 2012, which was called In Pursuit of Happiness. And I kind of feel like that mixtape for me was like a draw in the line in the sand, because, you know, I'd let so many other things get in the way of my artistry, and it was like I had to just kind of put all my experience, chalk it up into that one project, and then say, right, moving forward, now we're going to really evolve. And so it's been that journey since 2012 to 2018 to where we are kind of going now, like with my crew, the collective, and, you know, the vision for where I want to push this music.
Absolutely. And now that beautifully bridges us to my next question. What would you say, what would be the highlights of your music journey so far? That mixtape was mentioned there, but could you share some others that you think that have been, you know, like somehow very elemental for you or essential? I don't know what is the right word, but highlights, yeah, maybe.
There's been so many. I've had so many experiences, and I don't know. Like
30 years in a career, I understand.
There's been so many experiences. I've kind of taken it in my stride. I mean, you know, for me, I feel like performing to a big crowd. You know, I've had a few times to be able to do that, and performing to like big, you know, crowds and really controlling like that. That's what I really I feel like that's what it is. I mean, I love that. There's no better feeling than that. You know, I've performed at like Notting Hill Carnival so many years. I feel like for anybody who's an artist, you know, MC, DJ kind of thing, it's kind of like you have to get some experience of performing at Notting Hill Carnival. And I'm grateful because I've managed to do it for so many years in my life, you know, through different sound systems and connections. Yeah, there've been so many. So it's kind of like, but you know, I've done the big and I've done the small. You know,
Yeah.
we've done. Do you know what I mean? So
Everything.
it's kind of exactly, and I feel like it's all part of the journey. It's all part of the process. You've got to humble yourself. You know, for me, it's about the connection. Like, you know, how I see people respond to what's happening. You know, so and it's quite a subtle thing because it's kind of like, you know, I feel like I've succeeded if people relax. Like if we feel that tension kind of release and people are, you know, the music's taken over, then I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah,
So
beautifully
yeah.
said. So every performance basically is a highlight.
Every
In one.
performance is a highlight because it's
Yeah.
just, you know, it's the foundation of setting that next step. You know, good or bad, whatever the experience is there's so many things to take in. It's a thing where like it now becomes almost second nature for me to explain it. I have to even study myself because it's like, you know, like actually observe myself because so many things I do subconsciously, just in terms of how I, you know, step into a room and, you know, take in the sound and then push that back out into the crowd and work with my DJs or whatever the case. So yeah, but then next for me, really, I feel like more of my music really to push out now. I feel like that's what it is for me. Like that would be my next big highlight if we're going to set up something to aim more like for my actual tracks to really be performed and pushed. Like that's what I'm working on.
Beautiful. And actually, you again helped me to lead this into next question, which is, what are your current projects that you are working on? Can you share a little bit about those?
So at the moment, yeah, like there's a few little things in the background, but you know, nothing's really been set down. I mean, I feel like, you know, over the next few months as we go into the summer, we're going to be a lot more in the studio. But the main thing at the moment is really kind of pushing the collective, and kind of doing our gigs and you know, there's obviously going to be some studio time there. But I've just recently did a track with Kings with Hearts, which is
amazing.
yeah, setting boundaries for success, which is a project that we want to push out. And you know, that project does kind of surmise my career, I kind of feel like, in music, or you know, like my experience, because essentially, like for me, just where it feels, it's like that whole 30 years of where it started to where it is now. I kind of feel like, you know, there's life stages, right? And so when you're a teenager, when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, you know, to where I'm now in my 40s, it's kind of a thing where like, you know, we've gone through all of these decades, and so your outlook on life changes. And so, you know, one point you was an adolescent, now you're an adult with more responsibility. Do you know what I mean? You may have children or whatever the case may be. So, but we've still got that inner child that wants to rave, right? That wants to dance. So, and so, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what it is, because I feel like by the time you get to 40, people have to kind of either, you know, do some self-evaluation, some healing and all this kind of stuff, right? We're now responsible, regardless of where we came from. We now know we're responsible for our own happiness, right? So with that new outlook, linked with the music, outside of all the other rubbish that's going on that wants to separate us, do you know what I mean? Like for me, yeah, that track that came together organically, and I feel like it should do something because of the way it came together. I know we're running for time, but it was like 2 years before, like me and Chef were speaking, and you know, we were having a similar conversation to this. And so like basically, you know, fast forward to 2 years, like I don't know if it was New Year's or whatever the case was, he sent me the track, I voiced it, we put it together, do you know what I mean? And so yeah, boom. So let's see what happens.
Congratulations about that track. We are going to hear it in this mini mix. And by the way, shout out to Chef. Ooh, much love. He's wonderful. He's wonderful. So we're going to hear that track in our mini mix along with the track title change and third one as well there. And I just want to briefly to ask you to share about the collective. So for viewers who might not know it, what is collective?
So the collective is a dynamic DJ group. Essentially, it consists of DJ producer Timberwolf, DJ Calvin Showstar, and myself, PJ Melody, as the host. And essentially, we play, you know, a kind of specific sound that is kind of more native to London, but it's an underground sound, which, you know, obviously it's like based around like the Amapiano sound that's out of South Africa, but it's much more of like a UK flavor. And so, you know, we're based outside of London. So, you know, we're in the Midlands. And so for us, really, it's about bridging the gap. Like the UK used to be a lot more connected with like the rave scene, but obviously, you know, with how the clubs are now and everything, it's kind of like everything's changed. So, you know, we're here to really spread this sound north of London and stuff, and actually bring it internationally as well. And just do it in a way that's just constructive, and yeah, so
I've seen some of the clips, and it looks amazing what you guys are doing. So hey people, if you happen to be somewhere there in UK, in Northern London area, so to say, if I'm saying it right, then go and check the collective out. And I hope, of course, that we are gonna see you touring around the world at some point as well.
yeah,
so for us people
so
here far, that we would have a chance to enjoy and experience that as well. Now, final question. If somebody would like to know more about you and your art in social media, where can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me at p.j.melody on Instagram. So p.j.melody, and also at the collective_TM. We've got a website coming very soon, but yeah, more to be revealed soon. So yeah.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Again, I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast and taking you know your time. I know life, you know, life is life, and I'm just very
I
glad, you
appreciate
know.
your patience as well. Thank you, Heidi. You've been really patient with me as well. So no, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on as well. Like really, I really love what you're doing. You know, to spread this work and this message. And so yeah, man, just more power, man.
Yes, and it all happens together. So I couldn't do this without you or any other of the people joining into this podcast. So it's all about us and doing things together. So music unites people. It truly does. So I thank you again and send a lot of good vibes and blessings and love to you and to your family and to collective and to everybody there in the house scene, straight from Helsinki, Finland.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks for having us. I'll send it right back to you guys as well.
And now we will continue to the mini mix. Bye bye.